Hello everyone, this is Ashfaq Ahmed and I work in the field of structural biology and bioinformatics. We are going to start a complete course containing theory plus practical demonstration on single cell sequence analysis. This course will contain 6 to 7 videos and the first 5 or 4 videos will only be theoretical, and by watching those theoretical videos, you will be able to completely understand the practical demonstration and each and every code we will be using in the practical demonstration. So, if you are watching or if you are interested in watching or in coding this course, so you are welcome. Let's start. This is officially the first video of the course. So why single cell matters or why single cell sequencing matters? So the big question is that why single cell? Because before single cell, there was another technology and we were naming it bulk RNA sequencing. So, what is the difference, or what is the pros and cons of the single cell sequencing as compared to bulk RNA sequencing? So, in this slide, we will briefly cover the bulk RNA sequences versus single cell RNA sequencing. So, to understand the bulk RNA sequencing, I will teach you in a way like, let's say, a smoothie problem. Let's suppose you have many different kinds of fruits and you just crushed it all at once and then prepared a tasty or a wonderful cocktail, a fruit cocktail or a smoothie, and then you enjoy it. But there will be some deficiency in this cocktail. For example, if you are a user or if you are a customer drinking that smoothie, you can say for sure that this is a fruit smoothie or a fruit cocktail, but you will not be able to correctly guess it, like which fruit was in which concentration or in what fruit was in what quantity. So that exactly the bulk RNA sequences is doing with sequences. And once you perform bulk RNA sequences, so during the analysis in bulk RNA sequences, we normally take average gene activity across mashed up mixture of thousand of cell at once. For example, because in bulk RNA sequences, we I will use the word crushing. We are crushing kind of tissue, and you have bulk of genes, and that's why uh, we are doing during the analysis we are getting or we are measuring the average of gene activity. So what two things we actually lack in the bulk RNA sequencing? First of all, cell type differences are averaged away. So majority of the cellular differences are the expression differences. They are averaged away. So as a result, rare cell types vanishes into the average. So if there is some rare cell type or rare kind of expression of a gene, so there is a bigger possibility, a higher possibility that it will vanish during that mixture. Just as you can imagine again the smoothie problem. On the other hand, s- if you separate that smoothie back into individual pieces of fruit and before measuring anything, each cell gets its own measurement of which genes are on and how strongly. This reveals the different cell type hiding inside the mixture. So, as compared to bulk RNA sequencing and single cell RNA sequences, every cell measured individually, and as a result, there are higher chances that rare or distinct cell types will not be vanished and they will become visible. So this was the basic description or the basic difference or the pros and cons between the bulk RNA sequencing and single cell RNA sequencing. This slide does not mean that bulk RNA sequences is not better. It has its own multiple significance, but comparing to the single cell RNA sequencing, if we talks about capturing individual cells or their expression, then the single cell RNA sequencing technology is far better than the bulk RNA sequencing technology. Why does this distinction actually matter? So, first of all, discover hidden cell types. Tissues are, as I mentioned earlier, the tissues are mixtures of many cell types. Bulk RNA sequences can never separate them after the fact. Single cell analysis can. So this is one of the aspects that why single cell RNA sequencing is better than bulk RNA sequencing. And find rare but critical population. A rare cell type at 1% of a tissue gets washed out in bulk average, but it can show up clearly as its own group in single cell data. As I mentioned or I discussed in my earlier slide that in case of bulk RNA sequencing, there are higher chances that rare cells can be vanished because of the averaging we are taking uh, in that mixture, in that bulk mixture. Okay. Cells of the same types can be in different functional state, resting, activated, stress, invisible in bulk, visible in cell by cell or single cell RNA sequencing. That means that if you take a whole tissue and you just make a mixture of it and perform bulk RNA sequencing, so in body or the different cells can be in different state, for example resting state, activated state, or stress state. So you cannot differentiate those states easily in the bulk RNA sequencing, and all A and Z become kind of equal in bulk RNA sequencing, whereas it is visible in single cell RNA sequencing. And this is actually the foundation of the single cell RNA sequencing in the last decade. Okay. Remember, once we finish this theoretical part, then we will move to the practical demonstration. And there, as I mentioned in my first slide, that will be maybe 6 or 7 video. So we will perform this demonstration in 2 videos. So we will choose pancreas or human and mouse datasets, which is published in 2016 by Baron et al. And it has 4 human samples, 4 donors, and we will pick our dataset from the Geo database, and we will pick this one, GSE 84133. Why I'm choosing or why we will run this dataset? Because it is real, it is a peer-reviewed dataset. That means it is published one, and when you are following these notebooks, if you take complete this course, then of course you will also deal peer reviewed data sets. So that's why I am not selecting a toy data set, and I am selecting a real one in this course. The second reason for the this data set is that pancreas has a small number of very distinct but well understood cell types, let's say beta, alpha, and SNR, etc. So as a result, we will have chances of good clustering, or that can be easily related with the biological relevancy. And the third option is that I will demonstrate all these things in the Google Colab. So it will be, because of its smaller size, it will be kind of easier for me to quickly demonstrate it. And okay, so let me mention you, like in this course or in the demonstration, I will start from the download, the QC filter, the normalization, find HVGs. HVGs means high variable genes. Then we will perform PCA, then we will perform clustering, then UMAP clustering, and then finally we will annotate. As I told you that at the end we will have two different notebooks for demonstration. The notebook one will cover the download, the QC filter, the normalization, and the finding of high variable genes, while the notebook two will cover the PCA, the cluster, the UMAP, and then the annotation. So that was all for this first class, a kind of introduction of this course and the introductory videos of this course. Thank you so much. Stay tuned with me, and we will cover more very soon. Bye bye.